Hi guys, so last time we did talk about what you need to know before you apply for the Chevening Scholarship. I hope you learned something from there. So today I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about how then do you proceed to craft a winning essay that will set you above all the other applicants. I know that this is the core of the scholarship application, and I know that a lot of us has so many experiences, like we've participated in a lot of volunteer activities, paid jobs, we've pursued our passions, we are running successful businesses, either engaged in a non-profit work or for-profit organizations. Some people are working with the government, but the key issue when it comes to applying for scholarships is how do you package that in a way that sells your story and make you stand above the rest. As we all know that Chevening is really competitive, and this is because it's open to everyone really, people from Africa, India, Asia, across the world. So it's so competitive. So what sets you apart from the rest is not the experiences that you've had, is not your leadership track record. It's not, all that counts, but how do you craft a story that communicates that? So that's what we want to talk about today. And yeah, competition is fierce, I'll tell you. Every year there's a lot of applications, like so many. Or in Kenya alone, probably an upward of tens of thousands, so just be aware of that. So I hope that up to this point, the people who are following this conversation, you are ready to apply and you do meet the eligibility criteria. You're all set, you've looked at the essay. There are only 4 essays for this scholarship, and I know for other scholarships there's either less or more depending, but the lessons cut across other scholarships as well. So not only for this one, but I try to keep it specific for the Chevening today. So there are 4 essays, as we know. The first one is on leadership. How can you demonstrate your leadership skills to the selection committee? And the second question is about networking in your professional life, academic life, volunteerism. How have you networked with the other people? And the third question is about why you want to study in the UK. Why did you choose this course? What makes this university that you are interested in stand out from the other universities, and even why UK, for example. And the last question is your future career plan. What do you hope to achieve in the next 2 to 3 years, 5 years, and even long term afterwards? So those are the 4 essay questions, and usually if you've applied to some of these scholarships, you will realize that these questions repeat themselves even in the other scholarships, but just different wording. So these are like tips that would also help you when applying for the other scholarships. So the first one really is, the first tip here is less is more. Less is more. I know we have only 500 words per essay when applying for Chevening. So 500, the way I look at it, it could be less if you have a lot to say. It could also be more because you want to be really precise and you want to communicate the main ideas. So the first thing to do is avoid using some language like, oh, I will be able to. Just say, I will do this, Don't, there's some words that you don't want to use when writing this essay. So that's why I always suggest that you use someone else to recommend, to edit, and just go through your essay, maybe make suggestions. They may be able to catch a few things here and there, but they also have to be willing to spend their time to do that for you. The next thing I want to talk about is, just before I move on, in this less is more aspect, you have to really think critically and look back, reflect about how your life has been, your professional life, where have you volunteered, what kinds of leadership skills you gained during that period. So you want to think about that when you're writing this essay, right? So you don't have to fabricate anything. In fact, don't lie. Just be truthful. Just say whatever it is, however it is. But of course, you have to use a professional language and try to think of creative ways to communicate your ideas. So personalize essays. That's a very good tip that I would give. Don't use someone else's story to tell your own. Don't ask for someone who was successful when applying for Chevening and use their own story as yours. Just use it as a guide if they agree to share. If not, no harm. You know yourself, you know your story. I would really recommend that you write your own story. Having said that, there are various aspects that I want you to consider when writing your essay. One of them is keep the story consistent. I can't emphasize that enough. You have to, I think, I've read a lot of essays because people come to me to say, can you review my essay? And something that I've noticed is people go as back as, primary school, try to give their leadership experiences from primary school. I was a prefect, I held this leadership positions. What I would challenge you though is try to reflect in the recent past. What kind of responsibility you've been tasked with, and how did you execute it. You don't need to go as far back as primary school. The other thing is you don't need to give a lot of those experiences. As we said earlier, less is more. So focus on only one, I would say just one experience or one theme, however you want to look at it, and then keep it consistent throughout the 4 essays. The essays need to be connected. So whatever your leadership skill was, you will identify it, give examples, identify how you then use that skill to excel in your work or in your academics, whatever it is, and then connect it to your future story, your future plans, how these skills, the scholarship will help you to build on these skills, and then also the same thing aligns with your future plans. And also it comes back to networking really, because those are some of the skills that you want to also showcase in this networking section as well. So keep it consistent. Choose one theme. If you are into women empowerment, for example, don't jump from women empowerment to water and sanitation to health, and just keep the theme consistent. And so it's logical and it's easy to follow for the reader. And then they will remember you. Immediately they think about, someone working with women in a remote area, doing 1, 2, 3, maybe training them on entrepreneurship skills. They immediately think about you. So that's really the trick that I would recommend. Don't use a lot of those examples. You will lose your readers as they move along. The other thing is use the STAR approach. I know all of us know the STAR approach. It's more like a cliche now, but I would say that thing really works. Magic, it's important. Let's not ignore it. Let's study it, and let's tailor our essays in that same approach. So the STAR approach, if you don't know already, it is, situation, task, action, and then results. So in the situation, like when you're responding to the leadership essay, for example, or networking, whichever it is really, you want to give the background. What was the context? What was happening? I was working with women, sticking to that example, in my rural community, and this was the challenge. You want to give the context, some background info, some statistics, how many women are poor, they live hand to mouth, they can't afford basic needs. So they just define the problem and then a few context. And then this one can, it doesn't have to be a paid work only. You can draw from the time you were in school or somewhere you volunteered, whatever it is. I really want to discourage people, this thing of saying, oh, I don't have enough experience because I've not been formally employed and stuff like that. It doesn't really count. Every experience counts, so it doesn't have to be paid work. The other thing is task. That's the STAR thing. The first one is situation, and then the second is task. What to be achieved? What was it that was to be achieved? So you need to also provide a bit of background in that. Don't go overboard, just precise, concise, to the point, no jargons, just plain language, no all that, you know what I'm saying. The other thing is action. What was your role in that? Like, having identified the situation, the problem, what action did you take? And this is where you want to lead the reader to see your role, like use actively the word I, not we. I know people work in teams, but even within that team, what was your specific contribution? So you want to draw them to that so that they can see the value that you're bringing to the team. Either identify your value, the skills that you use, the strategies. Again, don't bombard the reader with all the skills. If you are raising funds, I have fundraising skills, I also have networking, communication skills, and all the, and that. They don't need to know that. Just be specific, be careful with your words, read and read again, and just revise it constantly so that the message that you want them to know is well articulated and communicated. So the key thing there to do is try to show your value, your influence on the thing that you are doing. Don't just state the roles. Oh, my role was A, B, C, like it is in the job description. Avoid that. And then the last thing is the results. What was the outcome of your action? You want to draw them to that. Just we trained, 20 women. We for 6 hours across 1 month. They want to see those specifics of that training, to paint a picture for them so that they know, like, okay, so this is what happened, this was the outcome. Give them numbers. If you are raising funds, how much was it? How many people contributed? How long did it last? How many people did it impact? Where? What age population? Was it girls? Was it boys? Or women, rural people? Was it people from informal settlements? So you have to be really specific about the kinds of action that, the kinds of results that were achieved. And this is communicated by giving those quantifiable measures, like the number of people engaged, resources raised, people, networks formed, stuff like that. And then key is the learning. I usually finish, I would advise people to finish their essays by just drawing them to the learning, key learning. What did you learn? What skill did you build from that? Or what would you like to learn if you got the opportunity in this scholarship? What would you like to build on? So you can identify one or two of those learnings from that whole experience. So that's a high-level overview of how your essays need to be. But as I said, you have 500 words per each essay question. Make sure you utilize each of those words. Don't make it vague. Don't use jargons. Don't go overboard. Don't go past 500 words. Also, don't go below 400, because I think some people write less. I know less is more, but also you need to make sure that you are utilizing the word count that you are given, and then send to your peers, your mentors, professionals, people who have gone through the program. Request them to review the essays for you, but don't force, because people are also busy. But having said that, thank you so much. The next thing would be, we will be talking about each of those essay questions, so stay tuned for now. Thank you.